Hey there, Tammy Kabell from Career Resume Consulting. I'm glad to be back with you. So today I want to talk about how to sell yourself into a face-to-face interview. So you are on a phone interview and you're wanting to go one step further to the face-to-face. Now you have to understand no legitimate job is going to be offered to you without having a face-to-face interview first. So it's vitally important that you go step by step and understand that the whole point of a phone interview is to have a face-to-face interview, and you want to sell yourself into that face-to-face interview. So let's talk about that a little bit. You are a consultative salesperson selling yourself as the product or service to that employer, and you've got to be able to be relevant to their needs and relevant to their aspirations. And by needs, I mean pain points or challenges. So ask about challenges. Ask about either current challenges or what's coming up in the next 6 to 12 months, and also aspirations. What initiatives are you going through? Where do you see the department in 1 to 3 years? How is it growing, or is it just stagnating? That kind of thing. But the number one piece of advice that I can give you to get to that face-to-face interview, which would be in addition to building rapport, which is building personal chemistry, and I can cover that in another video. And you can go to if you haven't seen my YouTube channel, please check out the YouTube channel, because there's a lot of information on interview tips, and I actually have a bundle of interview tips and tricks and advice on YouTube channel. So please check out my channel. But the number one piece of advice that I can give you is ask for the sale. Now, what do I mean by that? With the sale being the face-to-face in-person interview. So instead of at the end of the phone interview saying, so what are the next steps, which is what everybody says, what I would love for you to do is, if you are lucky enough to be talking to the decision maker within the business area that you'd be working, what you would do is simply say, well, you know, after talking with you today, I'm even more excited about the position than before we spoke. Is there a time that we could get together in your office next week that might be convenient for you? Next week, I'm really open on Wednesday and Friday. Is that possible? Could we spend a little bit more time talking about your needs and talking about your expectations for the position? In other words, you're simply very easily and very softly selling yourself into that face-to-face interview without asking, hey, can we get together? But really saying, I'd love to get together. I'm very excited about the position. It holds a lot of promise, and I'd love to talk with you more about the needs of your company. And I'd like to find out more about what challenges or really what initiatives you've got going on right now. So ask for the face-to-face interview. What I have found is that if you're talking to the hiring manager, in other words, the person that would be your boss in that company, then if you ask for the face-to-face interview, more often than not, my clients get that face-to-face interview. And that's really what you want from the phone interview, is to go on to the face-to-face interview. All right? They're not going to give you a job offer just because you've talked with them on the phone. So ask for the face-to-face interview. And if they are outside of your metropolitan area, I would ask for a Skype interview. Don't necessarily ask for the face-to-face on their dime unless you're planning on paying for going out there, if it's your suggestion to meet face-to-face. Now, what I would recommend if it's outside of your area is saying the same thing that you would if you're talking to an HR person, which would be, the last question would be, so is there anything else that you need to know about me before you make a decision as to whether I move on in the process or not? And usually they will say, no, I think I've got everything. I think I know everything that I need to know. Now here's one of these ninja secrets. When you ask them, is there anything else that you need to know about me before you make a decision as to whether I move on in the process? What you are doing is forcing their decision at that moment. And if you've built up rapport and you've built up relevancy to the job responsibilities and relevancy to what their needs and aspirations are, their pain points and aspirations, more likely than not, the answer is going to be yes when they decide if you're going to move on in the process. So you really can't ask for a face-to-face with a hiring manager if you're talking with HR, but you can say, is there anything else that you need to know about me before you make a decision as to whether you move on in the process? And then follow up, they're of course going to say either, no, I think I got everything, or they're going to say, well, I do have one more question, and then they get to that question. So follow that up with, when can I expect to hear from you next? And that way it gives them a deadline of talking with you, and you are completely within your rights to follow up with them if they don't meet that deadline. And you probably, if you've been in the job market for any period of time, you've probably experienced that black hole syndrome where you thought everything went really well in the interview, but you never hear back from them. So if she says, or if he says, you should hear back from me within a week, if you don't hear back within a week and a half, it is completely up to you to email them back or voicemail them back and say, well, I expected to hear from you within a week, I didn't, and so I thought I would follow up. Okay? So ask for the sale, with the sale being the face-to-face interview. That's what you want to get to. And if you've listened to any of my other videos, you know that I really espouse the idea of sending a resume hard copy to the person that would be your boss, so that you're bypassing human resources and you're getting to the decision maker. And that way you're getting a call from the decision maker, and you could easily say, I'd love to talk with you in your office sometime next week. What works better for you, Wednesday or Friday? That's going to be it for me today. I hope this has served you today, and I look forward to hearing about your success. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at tammy@beyondjobsearching.com, and feel free to check out our website. We've got a lot of free resources on there. It is careerresumeconsulting.com, and I look forward to talking with you very soon. Have a wonderful week. Bye now.